All right, we're recording, guys.
Yeah.
So in 1973, the oil embargo took place. Before 1973, no one really cared about energy efficiency because energy was so cheap back then, right? But in 1973 to 1980, about 7.5, 8 years period of time, over 500 cellulose manufacturing companies became in business. And fiberglass manufacturers blew up too. 40 in Michigan. This is a true story. I encourage you guys to Google it. But anyway, what happened was it also became the wild, wild west. And so when there was corrosion issues, there was fire issues when it comes to cellulose, there was in fiberglass and other issues. So the government saw this being a big, big issue. And so they started regulating the insulation industry. And so what they did was they came up with a division called the ASTM. And ASTM came out with a state of R value called conduction. And that's how they came up with the state of R value. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
So then I would actually have the homeowners write down another set of numbers right here, right? And then and then I'd show them this, and with the light on, usually there's a light bulb in there, just a regular 65-watt light bulb. And the thermometer at this point would be about 8 degrees higher than cellulose with the light on. Okay. And then I tell a story about, you're looking at about 3.5 inches of fiberglass and 3.5 inches of cellulose. And the definition of conduction is heat transfer from one side of the surface to the other side. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so that's what the government did, is how they came up with the state of R value is under conduction only. What this tool shows is the other two forms of heat transfer.
Convection and radiant.
You got it, Steve. And so I tell a story and I'll ask, Steve, do you know what the temperature is in outer space? Up in outer space? Do you know what it is?
It's cold.
Super cold. It's like negative 400 degrees or whatever. It's super cold. But the sun's it's really hot. The sun's really hot, okay? How come the sun doesn't heat up outer space? Yeah. It's because, well, let me back up. When I was a kid, grew up by a cold window on a cold day, I always thought that cold draft to get through that pane glass window and hit my body, make me cold. I always thought that on a cold winter day. But reality is it wasn't the cold draft going through the pane glass window hit my body. It's my body heat going towards the cold window. Heat only moves in one direction, from warm to cold. If you think about it this way, if heat only rose in life, the sun's up in outer space, we're down here. We'd all be dead. So radiant heat's very important in life. So as I'm telling the story, I'll ask the homeowners to write down another set of numbers or so. At this point, this is up about 15 degrees higher than cellulose, right? And so I'll give them another example of radiant heat. I'll take a piece of paper and I'll put this right here with the light on, right? The light's shining on. You see the light filtering through fiberglass a lot more than cellulose. You guys been in all these attics. You guys seen the difference when you have a flashlight up in the attic and you're walking through a fiberglass house attic and you drop the flashlight. What happens? Lights up the fiberglass, right? Well, you've ever been in an attic of a cellulose house and you have a flashlight and you drop the flashlight in the attic of a cellulose house, what happens? It
disappears.
You're in the dark, right? Yeah, it disappears.
You lost your
Exactly.
flashlight.
Another example of radiant heat.
You ain't ever finding it.
The reason why I'm talking and telling these stories, the secret is to wait 5 minutes or so or whatever. And longer the better, really, in my opinion. And so, anyway, I'll tell a third story about radiant heat. And if I pick up a hot iron skillet on the stove and I take a pot holder and I stick it way from my face, what do I feel? Heat. It's a hot heat from the pan to your face, from the skillet to your face. Just another example of radiant heat, right? So, and I'll ask the homeowner to put down one more set of numbers at the bottom, and I'll reiterate with them with the little brochure, another brochure that Applegate has, and I'll show them this, because people love pictures. And I'll reiterate with this with the homeowner. I'll say, Mr. Homeowner, Mrs. Homeowner, as the sun's heating up your outer space, coming down and hitting your structure in the summertime months, those roofers are it's like 150 degrees or so, right? It's hot. Conducts through, radiates through your attic space, through your materials, and inside your drywall. Most buildings nowadays, commercial, industrial, or residential, are all AC temperature buildings. So the heat's going from warm to cold inside your building automatically. So doesn't it make sense to get a good insulation above that drywall line? So most people are nodding their head, whatever. You ask them to put one more set of numbers down. But this time, this is not a joke. This is always about 21 degrees higher in cellulose in 5 minutes.
In just 5 minutes?
Yeah.
5 minutes, 21 degrees higher than cellulose. Now, put down the numbers there.
The hotter the light too. I've seen it
Fiberglass.
40, 50
Fiberglass.
degrees in
What?
5 minutes.
About 21
The
degrees higher
cellulose
than
doesn't really
cellulose.
change.
So 5
You
minutes
need
is
to
kind
put
of a
like
key
a-
number there for you.
The reason why I got this video on is because
21
Yeah.
degrees.
It was
This guy
smoking a couple
actually
times, I swear to God.
shows the best way to show the birdhouse. And he even has they're well known around the country. They even have a fish tank, like when you aquarium. And he'll show that, and he picks up mold. He's been on it for a year. He's got this under moisture and stuff. He'll pick up OSB's got mold on it. Foam's got issues. Fiberglass has got all kinds of mold around it. Cellulose, no mold. So there's no mold spores in the cellulose. So
You ever
I
seen
need
the
to do
guys
that,
that
too.
eat it?
What's that?
Some guys will eat it.
Yeah, I
If-
wouldn't do that.
If
'Cause
you
it's
have a product
non-toxic,
that's
non-allergenic.
got, yeah, you can eat cellulose. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
You said you're hungry.
we talked about radiant heat,
Yeah.
and we talked about
None.
conduction, right?
The hardcore guys will.
So what I'll do is, with Jeff, I'll have the homeowners transfer the numbers to the back side. And they're already like, wow, this is interesting, right? And I'll transfer the numbers. So now let's talk about conduction, warm air rising, or convection, I should say, warm air rising. So most people can relate to warm air rising. And what I do then is I'll just read off what this says, or read this. I'll just say convection causes warm air to rise. Heat is conducted into the drywall to the ceiling. Heat is conducted through the drywall to the attic air. And convection causes warm air to rise and the heat is lost. So it doesn't make sense to get a good insulation above that drywall line, correct? And so I would go over this document right here. When you get a chance, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, go over these graphs. Shows that cellulose outperforms fiberglass in every category. You don't do wall spray, don't talk about it. But if you do, you can talk about retrofit walls. This is what it will look like when you're doing retrofit wall before and after, right? More graphs. People love graphs. This shows a siding job, retrofit siding, aluminum siding. You can do cellulose with through the aluminum. Just proper ways you can have that story, tell that story. Now this is one story I'll tell, and this is the Department of Energy. Since 2008, actually recommends up to R60 throughout the whole country.
So that's
except,
what I was going to ask.
except for Key West area. Why up to R60? Why is
Well,
it?
this is what I thought. I don't know why, but like I thought, like let's say this is Michigan. Am I doing the right hand? So like this is Flint,